is up? What's happening, everybody? Welcome back. Blood splatter chatter, bonus blood, drinking some water here on a Sunday afternoon with my brother, the Missing Link, to do a little Shudder double feature, kind of. Because what we're doing today, we're going to talk Dark Match super fucking quick. Because first of all, it's not even really worth watching. I'll give you a quick non-spoiler review. Link didn't get a chance to watch that. And then we're going to talk about, which I think is a much, much better film, and the one that I would think that way more people would be interested in checking out, is Grafted. Both of them just came out on Shudder, but both of them annoy me because they say 2024. It's like, you sons of bitches. You're a 2025 movie. Nobody outside of like whatever festivals that they premiered at has seen these movies until they just dropped on Shudder.
Yeah, I feel like the official. I mean, I don't know what qualifies for that. Like, I feel like the official, like when masses can see it, should be the qualification for the premiere date of a movie. Or
I
like
think
the
so
year,
too.
you know, like because there was a 28 Days Later that fucks me up because it's like, yes, I know it's a 2002 movie, but to me, I saw it in 2003 in theaters. So it's always a 2000
Oh,
for
it
me
came out in the UK
in
the year
2002.
before. Okay.
Yeah.
And then right when we wrap up here, or not right when we wrap up, when we wrap up, we'll take a short, like 15-20 minute break, whatever my toddler allows me to do. And then we're gonna come back and we're gonna spend a little bit of time talking about Blink Twice. And this is the question I'm gonna have. I could be totally off base. I don't know. I don't know what you think, Link. But I saw this atop certain people's top 10 lists for 24. Some people said best horror movie of the year. And so we'll come back and we'll debate whether or not this should have made our top 10, and we'll have a discussion on Blink Twice after this review. So since you weren't able, first of all, after this, get my Shudder info. You know what I mean? Yeah, for sure. But I'm honestly, it was a waste of time. After I watched, I knew it was gonna be. It's starring Chris Jericho, and like you said, you're like, once I saw the cover, you're like, ugh. Like, it's probably not going to be good. Even the cover looked like this is going to fucking suck. But like the premise of the movie, you've got this wrestling company, I believe is what you would call it, amateur wrestlers or semi-pro, whatever it is, not the WWE. And it's a lot like Green Room. Have you seen Green Room?
Yes.
Right. So like imagine instead of the setup where you've got a band that is invited to this distant or this secluded place. Like in Green Room, it's a band that goes to the secluded place, and it turns out they're all white supremacists. They're all skinheads, and the shit goes crazy. And they're kind of held hostage in a room for a while. In this, we've got this wrestling crew. They go to this place, and it turns out they're Satanists, right? It's this cult of Satanists, and they're like locked in a room, and they're coming out and wrestling one by one. So then it's like you start to find out like what's really going on in the ring, while the other ones are like locked in this room. And as it goes further, they start to realize that they're being held hostage.
Is it like wrestling to the death, or is it just
okay. Yeah, so that's what it turns out being. It's wrestling to the death, and each one of them is based on like a different element: wind, fire, earth. So like the first match, there's this big fan on the floor blowing around, and like, don't get me wrong, if you're a wrestling fan, like it's probably worth checking out. Like if you're a wrestling and a horror fan, especially if you're a Chris Jericho fan, it's even more worthy of it. But even having said that, it would be way cooler if the wrestling was way better. It's not, the wrestling isn't even that good. There's a love interest. The lead character's decent, and there's a little love interest that's going on. That's not bad. It's decent, but by the end of it, you're like, this is fucking stupid and pointless.
So got questions because it sounds interesting. It sounds like there's potential there.
There is potential there. That's my thought too.
But is it okay? So it sounds like it's kind of cheesy, but is it meant to be cheesy, or do they take themselves seriously?
So take it a little too seriously. I mean, at times, like, don't get me wrong, it gets silly, but it's not. I was saying, just looking at it, I kept calling it a horror comedy. Like it's labeled as a horror action film. And I'm like, nah, it's got to be comedy, but it's not. Like there might be a few like light moments in it, but it is played too straight. It should be sillier. It should be sillier. The wrestling should be better, but it takes talent. You know what I mean? They didn't go get the guys from the WWE. That's what I think would have made this a cool movie. If you had people flying around the ring and like some of the better wrestlers out there doing their thing, I think it would have been a lot better movie. But it was just, the other thing that drives me nuts is it was green or red. Like all the lighting,
Like,
even when they were outside and it made no sense for things to be green, everything was green or everything was red. And it was just like irritating and a dark, hard to see movie. Looked like shit.
so was Chris Jericho the only real wrestler in it, or did they? Because that's a good point. I feel like that if you would have used that as a vehicle for like some of the newer wrestlers just to get some spotlight, even if it's a
Totally.
shit movie, that would have probably been good advertising at least.
Like I'm not
But
a
if it's
Logan Paul guy, but if Logan Paul had been in this movie, just from the little bit of stuff that I've seen him flip it around and some of the more, I don't watch much wrestling, but I'll check it out every now and then. And it's extreme these days. They're doing
yeah,
insane shit. And if they would have had that, if it would have been like the best wrestlers in the world in this movie, it would have been a lot better. Chris Jericho does very little. He's just like the leader that's in the background and like, I don't know, just kind of, he's not very good in the movie. He's not in it that much even. He's not the lead. It's this
has he played any like was he Jason or Michael or anything, or who was the one that played Michael in the remake?
oh shit, I don't know his name off the top of my head. Chris Jericho, if you remember, he's a horror fan. Because
Terrifier,
he was in Terrifier 2 at the end or 1? 2.
and then
But
they brought him back for 3.
yeah,
Which
he was at the beginning of 3. Yeah, I forgot about that. They kill him in 3. Spoiler alert.
oh yeah.
But I mean, honestly, I say we don't even spend any more time on it unless you have more questions, because I have nothing else to say. I would like it's a skip for almost everybody out there outside of diehard wrestling fans. And then to answer
Would
your question, are there other people that are wrestlers? I don't know. I don't know enough to know. It didn't seem like it. If they were, they weren't anybody that I was familiar with.
what would you score it though?
I'll give it a like a I'll give it a 2 because
Okay,
just because it's a super low budget thing. I didn't go in expecting much out of a Chris
right.
Jericho led wrestling horror action movie, and the lead character who is played by I just had her. She's pretty decent. Aisha Issa,
Okay,
she's been in Dark Matter. She's been in a few other things, but she was pretty good. And they had this like love story with her and some other like older wrestler. And that was actually solid. Their performances were way better than the movie deserved, I thought. Like they were actually pretty good, but they were just in a stupid fucking movie, more or less. Chill out,
Comfy
man.
Wrestling
Yeah, Chill Out says, man, I'm a diehard wrestling fan
just
and
came out.
never heard of this. Yeah, it's brand new. It just came out on Shudder on Friday. So chill. Having said that, if you go check it out, come get back to me and let me know what you thought of it. Like, don't get me wrong, it's not the worst thing ever. And when it started, like I'm 20 minutes into it, I'm like, oh, this might be pretty decent. And then it was just like by the end of it, you're like, no, they didn't have anything. They had the setup for a movie. Like the premise is decent, but that's really all they had. My brother, appreciate you being in here, chill. But
Could you hit the mute button on my mic real quick?
yeah, absolutely, man. Go ahead and set up the next one we'll get into, which I honestly thought it was pretty damn cool. This one is Grafted, which came out I think like 2 weeks ago on Shudder, another Shudder original. This one directed by Sasha Rainbow, and I think it's her first film. And what this one is all about, you have this Chinese girl. She's got this birthmark on her face. Her father had a very similar birthmark. And their whole deal is they're scientists that were trying to figure out how to use skin grafts to heal their birthmark or to like fix it or whatever. And through the science of this, it ends up like kind of like her dad does it and it covers up his face and it's like doing all this crazy shit to her face. She uses it later and then she ends up becoming people. Like she uses certain people's skin as the skin graft. And then it's like it becomes like a body swapping movie halfway through. It's very much heavy on the body horror aspect of it. There's some really like ick gross moments. The acting is pretty solid. The style is I thought was really good too. But it didn't blow me away, but I thought it was pretty fucking good. What did you think, man?
I'm right there with you. It the premise is super interesting. Like it kind of falters a little bit. It's not a terrible movie, but it does. Not it's not a terrible movie by any means, but it is. I feel like they don't utilize the premise because I feel like this could have been like a really cool revenge flick where this girl is really getting back at people that have ostracized her, and she's just going murking them one by one. I mean, the fact that she has to kill them in order to body swap, I guess it's like questions will pile up eventually.
Right.
I don't know. There were some, I I felt like it's like they didn't really go far enough. It wasn't bad. I did appreciate the style, but like in terms of like the body horror and just like the concept, like I don't feel like it was utilized enough. But it had some solid performances. But I don't the whole the medicine they had to make like the
Oh,
skin really graft on. That was really
bro,
cool.
your internet's being a little bit crazy. You sounded like Max Headroom a little bit. I don't know. I don't know what to tell you because I don't know how to fix it. It's just I couldn't really understand what you were saying there for a minute.
What
But
about now?
yeah, I could hear that. Your screen's been frozen a good chunk of this time. Do you want to try resetting and see if it
Yeah,
fixes it all? Because it's pretty
it's
tricky right now.
all right. Yeah, I'll be right back.
Go ahead and reset. And I'll talk to the people for just a moment. I got
All
my
right.
brother Chill in here. I could talk to Chill. I could talk to Chill
Okay.
about anything, anytime. And also, I'll talk about again what we have coming up after this. We'll be coming right back as soon as we finish talking about Grafted, again, which is on Shudder right now. It just dropped a couple weeks ago, and we'll be talking about Blink Twice, which it's on Amazon Prime, and I'm not sure how long it's been up there. I just noticed that Blink Twice was on Amazon Prime. And spoiler alert, I enjoyed Blink Twice quite a bit. It'll be interesting. I want to know what my brother Link says if this would have ended up being in his top 10. Link has a personal vendetta against Channing Tatum. So that may or may not play into things. But as I wait for my brother Missing Link again, Grafted, directed by Sasha Rainbow. Well, a big aspect of the movie and what it is like this Chinese girl coming to America and trying to fit in. She's with her Chinese cousin who was born and raised in America, and her white friends and shit, and like it's all about her trying to fit in. And the interesting thing, like I was saying earlier, she has this birthmark on her face. And it took me like halfway through the movie that I realized, like, oh, like her whole thing is like her birthmark is the thing that marks the place where she was born. And like that's what she's struggling with when she comes to the country, is trying to fit in. And it's like her accent and her culture and the way that she dresses and speaks and everything is marking the place where she was born, just like the birthmark is. So it's like she's trying to remove this birthmark. And it was like, I don't know, I thought, to me, that was kind of the best aspect of it. I was like, fuck yeah, like that was really brilliant because they never talk about it. You know what I mean? They don't like sit and discuss, oh, I'm having a hard time fitting in and my birthmark reminds me of it. It's just she doesn't even talk about the fact that she's having a hard time fitting in. It's just there. It just happens in the movie. And I don't know, it's so much better for them not like discussing it. But overall, it was really good. As far as like some of the body horror aspects of it, crazy. Like there's moments in the movie that are like very tactile and whatnot. Like she's picking away at her skin at times and digging away. Like there's a lot of moments in there, just like a Cronenberg movie where you're like, ugh, you know what I mean? It's that different kind of horror. But it also has, it's kind of a, as Link was alluding to, it's kind of structured like a slasher movie where it starts out where there's like accidents where people end up being killed. And then by the end of the movie, like she's out there murdering people all by her not by her lonesome, but that's the thing is you don't really know. You don't know if the skin graft that she put on her body is taking her over and kind of like affecting her personality. It appears it is, but again, it's never spoken about. Or is she just is this is who she is, and we had never got a better feel for her up until that point? I don't know. I don't know. Again, if you're just tuning in, waiting for my brother Missing Link to get back, having a little bit of an internet issue, so we can discuss this bad boy just a little bit further. Chill Out Man says, so I shouldn't eat while watching it. Just pick and choose your spots, brother. Yeah, pick and choose your spots. There's a couple. I thought they could have went a little harder with the gore, especially for as good as it was. There probably could have been a little bit more, but it was pretty solid. Bow, 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 bow. I'm having a feeling my brother Link might be having a little bit bigger of an internet issue than, than he had thought. He might be struggling to get back on stream. but that is okay. Again, blink twice after this. Hopefully, actually, we'll see. We'll see if Link's internet comes back or not. We might have to postpone this blink twice discussion. And then this Thursday coming up, we got Link's pick and a pick that I put out there. Warm Bodies on Thursday, along with Werewolves Within. Both of these, I think, are streaming. I know Werewolves Within is on Shudder, and I want to say Warm Bodies is out there streaming for free somewhere. Both like fun little horror comedies. Warm Bodies probably a little bit better than Werewolves Within, but I enjoyed Werewolves Within. It's kind of cute. And then Monday night, tomorrow night. I need to watch this fucking movie. Tomorrow night, I'll be over on Pop Culture Philosophers to talk Mean Streets with the fellas. I know Stu will be over there with me. If I had to guess, it's probably going to be Stu, me, Fable, and Joe Corallo, the two New Yorkers, if I had to guess, because I know they usually sign up for the Scorsese films. Well, shit, my brother. I don't know if Link is coming back. We might have lost. Missing Link. Link is officially missing. I'll message him now. Dun, 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 dun. Yeah. Chill says, I'm open to anything new. So, UK, I'm going to check it out. Okay, so I'm going to check it out. If you guys watch it, I think it was definitely worth a watch, man. There's certain people that, like, I've got a buddy that I can never recommend him movies because he likes more mainstream stuff. He's like, was that any good? I'm like, I liked it, but it's weird. It's an unorthodox movie, but I still think it was pretty goddamn solid. Like, really solid, actually. The missing link is real. The case of the missing link. Jill says, with that tailspin you just sung? I don't know. Was I singing tailspin? Let me see what I had in mind. Well, here I'll say some more of the spiel that I had on Grafted. Here's the thing: like you get you get halfway through the movie, and there's an incident. Spoiler alert: there's an incident where her cousin is, as I said, she's Chinese, but she's born in America, and the whole time she's kind of giving the main character shit about her weird Chinese ways and things like that. And she's not getting along with her cousin, and then they have this like little struggle where they're fighting. The cousin gets on top of the main character, and all of a sudden the main character grabs like some fucking chopsticks and shoves it in her fucking eye and kills her. And it kind of comes out of nowhere. Like there wasn't like this big buildup that was leading to them like having this, crazy. You weren't thinking that this murder was about to take place in the middle of the movie. So all of a sudden the cousin's dead, and she's living with her aunt, the dead cousin's mom, and she just hides the body off in this fucking room. And anyway, right after that, all of a sudden, like now she's like hiding all these murders. And then another accident happens right after that. Like all these murders start to pile up. But what up, Two Gun, my brother? Popping in, wondering like, what the fuck is Verno doing? Just talking to himself. Link was having internet problems, so I don't know. I don't know if he's gonna make it back or not. Yeah, I haven't heard from him on Instagram either. But anyway, this is the point that I'm getting at. There comes to a point in the movie where she's used her cousin's skin as a skin graft. And what happens is she becomes her cousin. And it took me like 15 minutes to figure out what the fuck was going on because they look pretty fucking similar. I'm sorry, but they do. And I was like, I thought she was just pretending to be her cousin and everyone was buying it. And it took me quite a while to realize like, oh, that actually was that other actress that she was now inside of her body. What up, Rogue, my brother? As I said, Missing Link is officially missing, having some internet problems. Hey, there he is. There he is, my brother, from another. Let's find out. What up, dude? Yeah, sound good, look good. You can smell good.
Still, thank you. Still don't got the damn camera options. I don't know what's going on. Oh shit! Something's going on with my internet today, so I feel like that's like factoring into it.
There's nothing you can fucking do about that, man. When you're having, there's one of those things I didn't even realize till after our last show. I went and looked at the show, and I'm like, son of a bitch, I was having internet problems half that show and didn't know it. What up, Warren, my brother? How does he do that? I always want to give Warren this Warren. I don't know why, but what up, man? Appreciate you being here. This is like this is the most shit show stream we've ever had because now I've got my kid banging at my door over here. Go watch Boss Baby, Madison. You could have gave me a half hour. But anyway, hey, here's what I want to know. Because now I have a toddler with me too. That's okay, man. You got this is a family show. Were you confused? As I was just telling these guys, there comes a point in the movie. She is Chinese. She's Chinese born, and she has this Chinese but American born cousin.
Mm-hmm.
When she swaps bodies, did you know that was the other actress? Because I did not. All of a sudden, the lead character, Wei is her name.
Oh,
everyone's calling her Angie, and she's dressing in Angie, her American born cousin's clothes. And I'm like, oh, is she just tricking everybody into thinking that she's this other person? I'm like, wow. Did you realize what was going on, that it was actually the other actress? Or were you mixing them up too?
So, there was a little confusion initially, quickly, but I quickly was like, okay, so she body swapped with her. But I was like, at first, I wasn't sure if they were going to play it as like, for, the audience, we can always tell her. We just see her dressed in like their clothing, and we assume that she,
right.
So, visually, the audience will always know it's, but the world she's in, they're like such, but I was a little confused. You know what it was? Because I think they weren't cousins, but the American girl she was staying with, she tried to be more timid, and she was pretending to be her. So I think they actually credit to the other actors except for the blonde chick, because she was the only one who was kind of a little goofy to me, when she was the body swap version of our main actress. But it wasn't, what, this movie, it was like a fever dream in a certain sense. There's like certain scenes where it's just like, it was that. So when the boyfriend falls off the cliff.
Yeah.
I'm like, did that really just happen? I had to rewind that to make sure I
kind of hated that. Here's my thought process for that scene. Because what happens, and this is right after it's like a self-defense kill. Her cousin is attacking her, and she kills her cousin. It's kind of an accident, or just like a self-defense thing where it's like, oh shit, now my cousin's dead. So you have no reason to think like, oh, she's a cold-blooded killer. She's going to go out murdering people. And then kind of the question you're having the whole time is like, oh, is the skin graft making her crazy? Is it causing her to now like act erratic, and now she's like killing people? But anyway, right after that, the scene you're talking about, she's making out with this boy on this cliff, and her face fucking falls off. And you think she's about to either kill the guy or something like that, but it ends up being now it's an accident kill. He freaks out that her face falls off and she falls on a cliff. But I think what you're alluding to, it goes slow motion, and it becomes like a dreamlike scenario.
Yes.
And I thought it really took away. Like, I didn't like it. I thought it really missed the mark as far as like being, I don't know. I just thought it like was really fucking weird and a poor. I think it's a first time director choice. I think there's a lot of things in this that's like, it's overstuffed. There's a lot of ideas in the movie. There's a little too much going on almost. But then there's just some weird choices that I thought, that one specifically, I'm glad you brought it up, because I was like, bad choice. It like took away from the impact of that.
And I felt like, to be honest, like, I don't want to sound like I'm always just a little bit more backstory, but it's like, we got the scene at the beginning with the little girl and her father, or the main actress is a young girl and her father. But then we fast forward, but we have no reason to like, she's just been picked on. We don't see any reasons to why she's so socially awkward. As like, maybe, you should have had like a little montage scenes showing like her growing up to that point. Like, maybe she's been super isolated, always just kind of working on her father's formula or whatever.
Totally.
Like trying to perfect it. So that's why she's so socially awkward.
Same thing with like her cousin. It's the same kind of idea where they didn't build up enough like motivation. Her cousin like shouldn't have hated her that much. Yes. There wasn't enough for that to really like, I'm going to attack you now. Like
Yeah.
that was kind of sloppy. I
Like,
think
you're talking about man. Yeah, even though we're family, because she got mad when he was like she was hitting on the teacher or something, and they like
right.
ran a photo.
It
Weird.
was a little too quick. I was gonna say, or something I said while you were fixing your internet, was it? Which good job, by the way, fixing that internet. You did a pretty good job. I thought that one aspect of it that was really fucking cool is the whole thing is about this girl trying to fit in. She's this Chinese girl. She's feeling out of place in the culture. She's trying to fit in America. All of her peers are picking on her, but the fact that she has this birthmark, like the birthmark is marking the place of her birth, and the place of her birth is the thing that's giving her all these problems. Her culture, her language, and her strangeness to her cousins is because of where she was born. You know what I mean? So like I really liked that. Like that was a really interesting tie-in. Oh, hold on. Sorry, I have you muted. Sorry, homie.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. No,
Yeah.
I didn't pick up on that, but now I see that's actually a really good point. I was trying to like see where they were like the relationship with the bum on this or the homeless person. I know why bum terrible term, but the homeless person on the street
You mean the bum?
that she the one she had the bond with. I don't know. Like I felt like they were trying to go somewhere with that, but until the end, I guess that's
Mm-hmm.
setup was for. But it's like we're both disfigured, and it's like I don't know. Like it seemed like she had a heart, but not really. Like I was this movie was a lot of first time director choices. Like it was a lot of like you said, overstuffed, style over substance. Like we mentioned earlier, they add this weird slow motion scene to the dude's death, and it's kind of like it's not necessary. Just let it
Yeah.
be up.
They could have. That's a great point because they really a better director could have made that more clear. Her relationship with that bum, so that when it came back later, don't get me wrong, it was there, but it could have been more
Yeah,
interesting and better done. There's a lot of elements that's like, oh, that's cool. They didn't pull off all of them, but they
yeah.
did at the same time. Like the production value was really solid. What's up?
Can you move my mic? Sorry.
Yeah. It didn't feel cheap to me, but sporadically it would. Every now and then there would be a scene that felt like it was out of a cheap movie, but then other times it looked like it was really good production value. Some of the editing choices were really solid, like some really stylistic or
Yeah.
stylish.
The one scene that comes to mind that I really appreciated was when she was actually going after the blonde chick, and at one point this best one of the girls that's been antagonizing her, uh she's like on the run because she's hunting her, and she's like goes underneath in this maze. It's not a maze, but it kind of looks like a maze, and she's like goes under the water in this pond because she's trying to like she's got the power drill and she's hunting her. She's trying to escape her, so she's like holding her breath underwater. Of course, some air bubbles give her away. But like when she was hunting her, like it was a little corny, but I just liked her. I like the main girl's movements. Like she was like very like weird and stalkerish, like with the power drill. And then the power drill scene, I appreciated that quite a bit. The effects they used. I thought I was like, is she gonna go for it? Just like do the power drill in the water, but no, she made sure she braced to get the good kill in. But there, I was gonna say I don't want to sound like I hated the movie. There were some actually, so there's a lot of potential, but I think Verno, you said it best. Like it was a first time director kind of finding their groove because there was a very good stylish bits in this movie. Just like the character, I feel the characters I think could have developed just a little bit more, just a wee bit more.
Yeah. It's fun. I couldn't agree more, but it's like this had so much potential because I kind of I like everybody. Like all the characters are
Yeah,
pretty
yeah,
decent. Like even like you said, like the blonde chick, she does play when it's way inside her body. She's pretty goofy with it, but Way's
yeah.
pretty goofy all the time. But I still didn't hate it. I wasn't like, oh my god, I still thought it was kind of cool. She's just a
When
a
she was
little
at the
bit
gate
weird.
talking to the
Dude,
which
I'm gonna tell you
listening.
right now for those that listening, I think we're gonna have to push this Blink Toys thing back. Like basically every time that we have done a show on a Sunday and it's just me and my wife is working, I'll throw Boss Baby or Toy Story or something on for Madison, and she'll sit there for an hour straight. And we're good. She sips on milk, and we're straight. Recently, she's got about 15 minutes, and she's like, "I'm gonna go see what Dad's doing." she's back here just wrecking shop right now. I don't think I can fucking do it, brother. It's rather distracting. It's rather distracting. What did you think? I mentioned a little bit while you were off stream, but like some of the body horror, like when she went up and she's like cutting on that plant. I think it was a plant. They could have. It's another thing. They could have like made a bigger deal out of that. That could have been like a bigger part of the movie. But when she was using it to make the formula to do the skin graft shit, so tactile, like the sound design and the look of it. She's cutting on it. Like a lot of the body horror was excellent, I thought.
Yeah. No, yeah, I was gonna say that's a big highlight because I was gonna say there's almost, I hate to term it like this, but it's like when she's doing the little cheese grating of the skin, it was almost like some going on. Not really ASMR, but it was like it was visually appealing to see her. It was like, oh wow, there's some good detail. They had some good detail.
That was gnarly.
You know what? So what messed? Okay. I was not that's the formula that kind of bothered me. Like I wasn't too, why did it kill her dad at the beginning? But like, would he took too much, or is like, was that the whole thing? Like,
I think like that's her new scientist or the guy that she was working with. Wasn't sure if he was their teacher. Yeah, it was her teacher. I think he had kind of refined the formula. And now it wasn't doing that. It was, you know what I mean? It wasn't. But then she did it to someone later, and she put a straw in their mouth, and it grew over it. It did it just like it did to her dad, but that straw in the mouth kept her alive.
That probably is I'm looking too much into it. The movie was never supposed to try to explain
right, the science. Like someone watches that movie, like, hot damn, did you know? Did you know that we could do this?
But no, that does work, I guess. I would have liked more reason, because it's like, she seemed like a nice enough girl at the beginning, and there was no reason for like the light switch be, beyond the self-mutilation, I guess you could say she was into. But when she started killing people, I was just, I don't know, like you said, because the second kill was accidental, and it just kind of, she was like, oh, I'm free now. I can kind of, that second accident, I guess I'm a vet at this now. There was no
right. I'm trying to think of the order of it. Okay, so after that, she killed the blonde chick. We didn't see it. That was one thing that was like kind of a bummer. We just saw later that she had cut her head off and peeled her face off. So it's like, did she just take her face and put it on her? Whatever. But I'll tell you one thing I really did like. Kenneth Bird, you old son of a bitch, call to the car. What up, man? What up? Chill saying, Vern, my kid's the same way with Child's Playing Killer Clowns. Thank God they're back free on Tubi.
Killer Clowns.
Yeah, Rogue. Let's hear the review of Boss Baby.
Yeah.
Fire. Great fucking movie. I would say one of the best of its kind. Great movie. 5 out of 5. There's one scene that I fucking hate. Have you seen Boss Baby?
Yes. Oh yeah.
Fuck it. I'll just whatever. This stream's already a nightmare from Madison and everything. But there's a scene in that movie where you ever notice the scene where he's like, put this pacifier in your mouth. It's like, suck it. Just suck it. And it's like, what's it do? It's like, it's not what it does. It's where it takes you. And it's like, this is fucked up. Just suck it and put it in your mouth. It'll take you places. Like, why is that? I get it, but that should not have ever been in a kid's movie.
It's one of those things where it's just vague enough to go over their head.
Yeah, no, I know, but I can appreciate that, but too far, too much.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? We didn't need it to go that fucking. Yeah, I could get those things like, oh, that's cool. Went over the kids' head. But anyway, what did I want to just say?
Back in we should be used to it though, because it's like we had back in our day, sex in the clouds of Lion King. Some crazy innuendos.
Dick's on the cover of Little Mermaid.
Yeah.
My stepmom still has that. We own that VHS. Yeah. I need to look and see if that's worth anything. This is what I was gonna say. This was actually really cool. Like when she's becoming these other people. Mm-hmm. She's now this blonde girl is playing our lead character for a little bit, not too long. And at first I'm like, well, I don't really like this that much that the lead actress is now gone from the movie. I didn't think she was ever going to come back. So I did think it was really cool. Like she peels their face off and like, okay, our lead actress is back.
It's just her with the.
So we've got this like transitional part of the movie, and now we're kind of left like, oh, she's killed a bunch of people. Like, what is she gonna do? And the one like nice friend shows up, and she's like, oh, wait, won't come with me? And she's like being really sweet to her. And I'm in the middle of thinking like, oh, she is so sweet. And the movie, you don't know where it's gonna go. You think like maybe it stopped the trend of everybody that she meets is gonna die. But as soon as that girl finds the other girl's body, she kills her in cold blood this time. So that's like
no qualms about
it's
it.
like shows this escalation of like where she's went from there. But to me, I've said this to you before, but I love like when I'm thinking of something and then a movie responds to like what's in my brain immediately. And like that was a really good moment for that.
Yeah. At that point, it showed like she was just so lost in the process of what she was doing that, it's like it was too far gone for people to try to build attachments. But that was pretty savage because I was like, oh shit, she just gets the saran wrap or the bag or whatever and just yanks old girl like a cartoon.
Right. And she had a nasty look on her face. It was weird because right after she kills her, she's like, I'm so sorry. And she seemed like remorseful. But when she was killing her, she was like, like gleeful about it too. So it's like, yeah. Well, I think that's what it is. It's like we keep saying. It's like just they didn't. It was, I don't know. It's first time director shit. They weren't super clear about everything. Those two scenes didn't jive. The look on her face and then her remorse right afterwards. It needed to be more clear. Like if I feel like a better director, like a more Hollywood production, would have made it super clear that this skin graft is making her crazy.
Yeah, the formula is kind of like reminds me of the classic Hollow Man. Kevin Bacon.
Yeah, it really. Yeah, no, that's a perfect example. Yeah, exactly.
Because that was one of the side effects, right? Like he started to.
Yeah, it's been a long time, but yeah, I think there's a few that like that. Why do I want to say flubber? no, but there's a lot of like scientist movies that do shit like that. Maybe not flubber.
Invisible Man like that, or was he just? Because I still that Lee went all.
No, he's just a dick.
Okay.
Yeah, he's just a dick. We got to get to that eventually, but yeah, I don't know if you have anything else. Go ahead and let's rate this bad boy. I doubt that anybody in the chat has actually seen this one yet. My man says, when are you guys doing a Hollow Man? We'll get to it. We'll definitely get to it.
The Baconator.
Yeah, I was gonna say maybe have a Baconator month, man. There's enough good bacon out there. We could have a bacon month. Or maybe what we need to do is have like an A-lister month where we just do like a Nicolas Cage movie, a Kevin Bacon horror. You know what I mean? Like the A-list stars that have dipped into horror.
Down. Yeah, hell yeah. Ooh, Cage would be a fun one. Fuck it. And Bacon. There's one movie, I don't know what it was called, but he was like, maybe it's a show, but I'd seen a clip of it yesterday. I was like, oh, what's this? Anything with Kevin Bacon, I'll watch. And he was like measuring a room with his daughter. And he was like, that's weird because the room is bigger on the inside than it is on the outside, like implying there's like a secret room in the house. And it was just some random clip on Facebook. I was like, why would someone put that? Like, what? They don't even put the name of the show or the movie, just this random clip, no context. And, you're just left with intrigue.
Was it a horror movie?
It seemed kind of like a thriller kind of ish. It looked happy.
Yeah, there's a few that he's done in recent years. There's one that's called You Should Have Left. I feel for some reason I feel like that would be
yeah.
I'm kind of curious. Let's look. I got it right here. How are the ratings on this bad boy? 5.4 on IMDb and a 40% on Rotten Tomato. Maybe they didn't put the title out of embarrassment. Hey, since I don't think we're gonna be able, Madison's just proving the point. I don't think we're gonna be able to get to Blink twice, but I do want to do it. We'll either do it. We'll do it as soon as we can. We'll get together and do it. But here's what I want to know for you, and for maybe people that haven't seen it: horror movie or thriller?
Hi.
Hey, Maddie. It's definitely. I think it could fall under the umbrella of thriller. I think because they're like they're cousins, thriller and horror, in a sense. You agree, Maddie? But I would say
she agrees.
It's more thriller. But I could definitely deserves to be on a horror list.
Well,
What
here,
about
Madison, sweetheart, give me 2 seconds. We're gonna wrap this bad boy up. Don't worry, Maddie. I think it's. I don't even know what the hell a thriller is. You know what I mean? I think a thriller is having. Fuck. Fuck.
I hear you, Maddie.
I'm so sorry.
No, it's all right. You're good. You're good, brother. Trust me, I know how it goes.
Maddie, sweetie, give me 1 minute. We're gonna wrap the show up, and you need a nap. Okay. I don't know. I'm watching. I'm like, this is a horror movie to me. It's just like there's enough in it. I feel like once you get big enough stars and a big enough production, people don't want to call it a horror movie. But there's no reason. Like it's so, you know what I mean. There's a lot of horrific moments. It's like so similar to. It uses horror tropes. Like what? When I think thriller, and I might just be wrong about it. I think something like Seven, where it's more of a procedural. But maybe that's not what it is. Maybe there's just like a lot of procedural murder mysteries also happen to have thriller elements of it. I don't know. I guess I don't know what the fuck a thriller is.
I see. That's what I was gonna say. It's an umbrella term because like. I was thinking like a horror. You got kills consistently throughout the movie, but like a thriller, like you said, it's more of a lead up to shit. With this one, you did have certain kills, but it was like the ending was the lead up to it, like the pop off. And I feel like tend to usually like leave breadcrumbs, and then there's this big crescendo for the ending. Whereas horror, I think
what I'm reading right here is in very much. Go ahead, please finish. But what I'm reading seems to be pretty much in line with what you're saying right now.
Oh, okay.
You want me to read this?
Like a horror movie. Don't get me wrong, because there's other horror movies where it's like the others. Like a ghost movie, they don't have straight up kills. So it's like just because a movie is not killing somebody every 5 minutes doesn't mean it's not horror.
Right.
I feel like with. This could definitely be classified. I think you're right, though. I think when they build a movie as a horror, it kind of cheapens it. But if you're a thriller, it sounds a little bit more sophisticated. There's an air of sophistication, more wit, I guess.
Right.
But this could, you wouldn't be wrong for calling this a horror movie or a thriller. I think it could easily fall under those.
Right.
Both those terms.
Well, here, this is what this says. I know Robbie's probably our homie from Pop Culture Philosophers. He's the first one that made me like even think of it. He doesn't like the term thriller. Yeah. He's like, thriller is just a horror movie with that. They're embarrassed to call it a horror movie. And there wasn't like no such thing as thrillers until the 90s, which is when we got Jacob's Ladder, An Interview with the Vampire, and like a lot of like big famous actors that were big Hollywood A-list actors that were doing horror movies. So they're like, let's call them thrillers. But anyway, this is what.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, no, go ahead.
No, when you brought up Seven, I remember thinking as a kid, like that fucked me up. I didn't see it immediately when it came out because it came out when I was like 7, but I maybe saw it when I was like 10. And I remember thinking, this is kind of a horror movie. Brad Pitt's in a horror movie, Like, kid, I didn't have a concept of like thriller and horror. I just saw some scary shit. It was a horror movie to me. Right. Detective movie.
I would cover it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, as far as like, it's not a pure horror movie. It's something different. There's something more different about it, but I would talk about it on Blood Splatter Chatter. But anyway, this is what, just type it into Google. What's the difference between horror and thriller? This is what you get at the top. Thrillers should be fast paced and involve intricate plots, twists and turns, just like a roller coaster. I can get behind that. While they might create a bloody scene with a dead body or a monster, thrillers tend to rely less on blood and gore than horror movies do. Instead, focusing on building anticipation and suspense, which is very much what Blink Twice does. But there's gore in there. There's plenty of gore, but it is about building suspense and anticipation, like where the fuck is this going, and the twists and the turns of it. But I just think it's a horror movie that has those elements. You know what I mean? Like,
I was it's fair to say like she almost designed this as like a horror movie, but let's put it under the guise or mask of like you said, horror thriller elements.
Totally.
That's fair to say.
Totally. Well, let me just ask you this, because we'll do a deep dive on Blink Twice because we both took the time to watch the thing. But thumbs up, thumbs in the middle, or thumbs down for Blink Twice?
Thumbs up. I was I told you, I remember telling you I tried watching this before. I don't think I was given a chance because I've got a thing towards Channing Tatum.
Clear
Oh,
that up
funny
for me after you're
story.
done with it. I want to know. Yeah, give me your Channing Tatum story after this.
Were you on there for the Your Next stream?
Yes, on
Okay.
Dylan's show.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I had an encounter with that chick as well. I didn't realize it, but she was in Step Up 3 and had a whole. She's like on the Channing Tatum level with me as well, but I didn't
Yeah.
realize that when I Your Next, and I liked Your Next, but now that I know that was her, I was like, that movie's all right, but I still know it was still. I'll tell you that afterwards. But no, this was a thumbs up. I was really, I saw the question at the beginning. This would have definitely made my top 10 for movies of last year.
I
Had I
think it
seen
might have too. It might have snuck in. Nine. I had to relook at my list and everything and
Yeah.
think about it, but I think so too because I really did enjoy. I enjoyed it from start to finish. Highly entertaining. Highly entertaining. Looks good. Great performances. Every single person is like, hey, it's that person. It's
Yeah.
not, you know what I mean? So like, and I love that. It was. It. I mean, I think everyone like Christian Slater. It's like, oh fuck yeah, Christian Slater. But then
In the
by the end of
Joker.
it, it's like you should have done way more with him. He's awesome. Like, why
Yo,
not give me more Christian Slater?
I love Christian Slater, bro. One day we'll find some way to qualify Broken Arrow as a horror movie.
Yeah. Yeah.
Him and John Travolta, the best.
All right, Maddie. Let's rate Grafted and get about this bitch. You guys in the chat, I appreciate you. I don't think anyone's seen it, but if you have, throw it out there. And if you want to just pretend you have, throw it out there and pretend it's cool.
Body horror is a strange one for me. Not just I can't just rock with anybody's body horror I'm finding, and it's like I kind of how I complained with seeing giallo films. It's like I feel like I start with body horror at the top with what Long Live the Flesh. Why am I forgetting Videodrome? Stuff like that.
Videodrome.
So it's like this is cool. This was cool. Not to beat around the bush. I'll give this one a solid 3.25 because there's potential there. There's potential there, but they get, like I said, they get lost in the sauce, or it's like they never really go deep enough for certain things for me that I thought that it's like they just spend a little bit of time everywhere instead of really diving into one aspect of the film. But there's promise, and I appreciated the style of it, the editing, especially for a first time director. Some great, interesting shots. Interesting color palette. They were like flirting with some bright colors in dark situations, which was interesting. And solid performances. That whole body swap, I would like to see that done as like more of a deep revenge flick, where they're just working their way down, switching bodies by killing people, and cool concept. But yeah, 3.25.
I think because I was sitting there debating, there was times in the movie where I'm like, oh, I'll give it just because of the themes, and like I said, I loved that the birthmark marking her place of birth and that whole bit. At times I was like, fuck, this is a 4 or even a 4.25. But like the more I dwelled on it, even us talking about it, like it had the potential to be that.
Yes,
I think it had the potential to be a fucking 5. Like if they had just like really refined this, taken some more time with the writing and just made a few things more clear, like it has all the elements to be a flat out fucking banger. But I would say there's still like way dark match. I would say almost I'm recommending it to Chill Out Man and fucking nobody else. All right. But this one, I would say most people that tuned into our show would probably dig it. Oh, you know what else I loved about it? It starts out and then it's all in Chinese for the first 10 minutes. And I'm like, I almost text you. I almost be like, fuck, I didn't realize this. I thought this was in English. My reaction, where I'm almost like, you know what I mean? Is exactly their fucking point. Like, oh, you got a problem with you don't feel like dealing with the Chinese culture and our Chinese weirdness? It's like, oh shit. Like that's their whole fucking point. I thought, first of all, that's cool that it tied in thematically, and also it's ballsy to do. Because there's a lot of people that are gonna be like, oh, I didn't realize this wasn't in English. Click.
And click off of it.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool. Like, but I'm gonna give it a 3.5. It might be a little just the fact that it was I could, if someone was like this movie of the year so far, I would kind of get behind that too. If you're not letting any of that shit bother you, there's a lot of elements. Did you see Infinity Pool?
I haven't. Is that the one with Mia Goth?
Yeah,
Scar.
done
Yeah.
by Brandon Cronenberg. It's kind of
Yes.
like that, where it's like it gets so weird. It's like, oh, I didn't think it was gonna go here. It's like it gets
Yeah.
more sci-fi than you think it's gonna get, and I kind of appreciated that. But Infinity Pool does it better. They
I
could have
could.
fucking nailed it and had a 5 here though.
No, that's a good point. Like there's like you said, there's potential there. I'm very curious to see what this director does in the future, just because there is style and potential there. I could easily see her doing her own version of Infinity Pool in the future. You know, Cronenberg. That might have. I don't think that was his first film, but it's like he grew up with an
Right.
OG his dad, so he's gonna pick up some things.
Yeah, that was
But
his third or fourth film.
this it was if we're comparing it to films last year, it was different. You know,
Yeah.
there weren't many body horror films or taken like I'm really hooked on like the revenge aspect where she was just I wish they would have executed better, a little bit better. But I
Right.
think that was a very cool idea. And there weren't many things like that out last year, to be
The
honest.
substance would be. I hope this is the
Yes.
beginning of a trend. Like, and
Yes.
first of all, the way that this movie ends, I don't want to spoil the substance, so let's leave the details out of it altogether. But fucking the substance, right? It was like the
Yeah.
same
Yeah.
ending as the substance with all the
Oh,
body horror.
yo, and I actually really liked the ending. It was kind of poetic. Not to just spoil this one, but with how she ended up being unseen, that's something that was a theme throughout the movie,
Right.
and she kind of reached the epitome of being unseen and unnoticed at the end. So
Yeah.
that
By
was cool.
being half bum. Any bums listening? I'm sorry. I'm just fucking around.
It's all up.
Chill Out Man says my Channing Tatum story is that he's from Alabama and so am I. And so am I. Therefore, I don't trust him. so you can guess who's betting on the Super Bowl. There you go. Hell yeah. All right. So a 3.5 from me, a 3.25 from the missing link. Again, we're gonna get to it. We're gonna get to it real soon. I don't fucking know. Stay tuned. Whenever Madison allows it, we'll do Blink twice. But I'm not gonna be able to pull it off today. I can just tell. She's chilling right now, but she's ready to be crazy any second. I fucking know it. And then as I said, next Thursday, Warm Bodies and Werewolves Within. Couple cute, fun little horror comedies to get us rolling here in February. So, my brother, you got anything coming up you want to tell people about?
No, you can catch me on here covering these movies next week. I'm looking forward to these. This is a good, nice little Valentine's, lighthearted. I like it.
Hell yeah. And then the following week, we'll do, because I just got this bad boy in the mail, My Bloody Valentine, 1981's My Bloody Valentine. Excited about that, man. I've only seen this once. So there's two. I'll tell you what, there's a couple different versions of this, and you want to seek out the one that's got the gore.
What?
The original release, like they cut away a lot of the gores in the kill scenes and shit. But this one has some of the best. So I'll look online. I'll try and point you guys in the right direction, you and Stu, for when we do cover it, and you guys in the chat too, just to make sure we're all watching the same version of it. But hell yeah, man. I appreciate you guys in the chat. Chill, Rogue, Kenneth Bird, Warren Smith, Two Gun Pedro popping in. Appreciate all you guys. Again, sorry about internet and toddler problems, but we're doing our best. We're doing our best over here. But hell yeah, man. Link, my brother, I appreciate you. You guys out there, we will see you on Thursday.